Hello, all of my crafty friends. I am so glad you guys are here, and I know that this is late, but I decided that I was going to do it anyways. So this is the unboxing for the Hero Arts January kit. I had to get this add-on just because of this cup and this spoon were absolutely amazing. I was so in love with it. So let's look at the main kit. It always comes wrapped in this awesome tissue paper that I hate to tear, but I have to every time because I can't get the sticker off. But at any rate, so sorry, I am just getting over getting sick, so please pardon any weird things that might happen during this video. So we have our stamp set, which is a 4x6 this time, and it came with this really cute text and kind of stamp script type of theme. And the big thing for this kit was all of the dies to make all of your flowers, and I love butterflies, so I was super happy. The envelope and the sentiment strip, and then a wrap for your flowers. We also get our goodie bag that comes with extras every month. And this month we get some ribbon as normal. I didn't use my ribbon. I typically don't, but I hoard it. So I should probably try to make that happen. Glimmer metallic ink in the color aqua. I really love this stuff, and I had an opportunity to use it on some black watercolors, so I was very excited about that. We got some pink shimmer or pink sparkle embossing powder in the 1/2 ounce, and last year in February we got the lighter pink color in the sparkle. So if you've been with Hero Arts for a little while, you'll have its soulmate, as I like to call it, in this month's kit. That is so beautiful, and something that I forgot that I even had, so it does not make an appearance during our card kit video. We also get some nice shimmery cardstocks. We get some Kraft cardstock. We get some, this is like a silvery white shimmer, and then a really light, kind of a baby pink shimmery cardstock. These are absolutely gorgeous, and I'm a paper hoarder, so I chose to use more papers from my stash than the papers that I absolutely love. So this is a peek at the kit that came for January, and we are going to jump into getting some cards made. So we are going to go into card number 1. All of the cards that I made this month are 5x7. I'm going to use the Deco Weave stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I am going to create a rainbow colored background using some of our distress inks. So I am just getting my panel prepped here. Sorry about being off camera. Like I said, I was doing this in the midst of being sick and then getting bronchitis, and so it's just been it's been very amazing this past month. So as you can see, I've got my rainbow assortment of colors out, and I am going to start out, I believe this was candied apple or fired brick. I can't remember off the top of my head at this moment. And I went with some very bright colors, as you can see here, and I'm just using some brushes that I've gotten from Amazon. I did all of my coloring off screen this time just to kind of try to save time. As you can see, we still ended up with a 30-minute video, and I have made all of my butterflies rainbow. I used Copic markers to color everything in, and I am just gluing down all of my butterflies and using that sentiment strip with a piece of vellum to glue on a thinking of you sentiment that came from the kit. We're going to take our last butterfly and have it sitting right there at the top of our thinking of you sentiment, and I'm going to trim that down just a little bit, and then we are going to utilize some paper from my stash in order to make a border. This is a little bit smaller than a 5x7 card base at this point. So I'm going to take some blue, and I think that this is actually some Hero Arts cardstock that we got in the Italy themed card kit from last year. And so I thought that would be really nice to go along with the color scheme that I chose for the roses in this kit. Now I did decorate the inside of most of my excuse me, of most of my cards this time and created a sentiment to go on the inside. I love making having the inside of my card go along with the actual outside of the card. So I thought I'd keep that in, and let me know what you think about it. I don't know, this might have added a little bit extra time to the video that wasn't necessary. So let me know what you guys think about having the ideas for decorating the inside of the card as well as the outside of the card. And I'm just adding that to a black card base from my stash. Again, like I said, all of the cards that I've created today are 5x7. I'm more of a 5x7 than an A2 type of person just because I need the real estate. It's very difficult for me to do a card layout on an A2 size card. Not to say that I can't, but I enjoy the 5x7s better. I'm going to finish that off with some Nuvo drops in the purple and teal colors just to kind of give it that last little bit of bling or sparkle or eye-catchingness. I don't know what you call it. I just can't ever make myself stop. So that's card number 1. Tell me what you guys think about this one. I really enjoy butterflies, so I had to pull myself away from the butterflies in this video. So for our next card, I have taken my mini Misty and I've cut out several of the sentiment strips here in vellum. I have some shimmery white vellum as well as some silver vellum, and I've used a dot runner with some temporary adhesive to tack that down to the inside of the Misty. And I'm now taking some sentiments from the kit to create a greeting for the inside of the card. I'm using hello friend, thinking of you. Then I use sending my love is another one of the ones that was in there. And then I don't remember what the last one said. I want to say it said something about a wonderful day, but I'm not sure. So we'll see in just a second. Like I said, it's been a minute. And so I'm going to use the Gina K Amalgam ink. You're the best. That's what it says. So hello friend, I'm thinking of you and sending my love. You are the best. So I'm going to take those, and I stamped that down a couple of times, and I am going to take the You Are background stamp from Simon Says Stamp to create a kind of a very light background for my card base. So what I've done is I've taken the padding outside of it, and I'm going to take some antique linen distress oxide because I want it to be very light. I don't want it to be overpowering or to take over the card, but just to kind of give it something so the background of the card base is not just completely blank. As you can see, because I'm making a 5x7 card, this is not as tall as my card base is. So I have taken some post-it tape and masked off a portion of the stamp so that I could stamp the remainder of the top. So you can see it's very light, and now over the top of that I took a Heavy Doodle love circuit stencil. So I'm going to do a double kind of background technique on this card. And I'm going to use some more of that post-it note tape to kind of tack down at the back so I can have the full front of the stencil. And I'm going to take some spun sugar, again, something that I want to just kind of be light in the background to create a little bit of a scene, but not to be overwhelming or to take over the front of the card. So I'm going to take one of my blender brushes. Again, these are just Amazon brushes that I've accumulated. I have not ventured into the different brands of brushes at this point. So as you can see, this is what the front of the card base is looking like, and I am also going to utilize this same stencil to do the inside of my card as well. So I've taken some of the metallic inks. I took the aqua as well as the purple and the gold that came in a previous kit, and I used some Arches black watercolor paper to watercolor tons. I think it was about 30 of them that I did in total, of the butterflies. Again, like I said, I am such a huge fan of butterflies. I felt like I was having to pull myself away from just wanting to use the butterflies in the kit and nothing else. So when you're working on vellum, it does take a while for the ink to dry. So you saw me kind of using my shirt sleeve in order to ensure that I wasn't smearing the ink when I was trying to press that down. Now what I'm doing here is I'm taking anywhere between 4 and 6 of the butterflies and just gluing the body together. And I have chosen to do multiple colors, like I said, the gold, the aqua, and the purple for this card. And once I have done this portion and just glued the body together, I will separate those wings just to give the illusion of kind of that butterfly fluttering. I thought that would be really cool for this card. And I am just going to tack down the very bottom of the butterfly so that the rest of those portions will still be floating on the front of the card. So I'm going to do that for each one of the sentiments. I'm going to alternate between the left and the right, placing the butterflies down using both of the butterflies that came in the kit to finish creating the front scene of our card. I've taken some gold True Brush cardstock from Cricut to mat both the front and the inside of my card. I really love this stuff, and it gives a nice thickness to my cards. It seems to be thicker than the 110 pounds, so that's kind of the type of cards that I enjoy creating. Now I'm going to take another butterfly just to kind of finish off the inside of the card, and I'm doing the exact same thing, just gluing the body together so that the wings can stay separated and can kind of give that fluttering illusion when the recipient receives the cards. Now usually, like I said, I create very substantial, pretty thick cards just because that's what I love. To me, it kind of gives a more professional feel to them. And when I mail my cards, because I do typically mail out cards to people, it usually takes 2 stamps if you are creating a card that is made with the level of bulk that some of my cards create. Now they still go through the mail fine. I don't have to go to the post office because I have an aversion to the post office. So I don't have to go to the post office to mail them off, but I do usually weigh them at home, and usually it comes out to be right at 2 stamps. It would be 1.5 if we did half stamps. So that's card number 2. So now we're going to go on to card number 3. I have taken some paper. This is the cotton paper from Tonic, and I've had my Cricut cut me out a sentiment that says fluttering by. So yes, you have guessed it, I am using my butterflies again. However, this time I have brought in some of the flowers or flourishes, kind of. So I'm just going to varnish that on. Now this does take a little while for it to kind of set on, just because this is the cotton paper and I am using vinyl to create my sentiment for my card. But I just wanted something that kind of had the elegance. I wanted a sentiment with a feel of elegance like the paper was. I really love this ivory colored paper. So as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've colored some butterflies using purples and oranges and blues, and I'm using the floral wrap to make it look like a bouquet of butterflies. And what I envisioned in my mind was that the butterflies are flying out of the floral wrap. And so I really loved this idea, and I used my Copic markers to color all of these images in. Huge shout out to Courtney Creever, who showed me how to color die cuts. I usually don't do that, but I used some Tombow Mono multi glue to tack them down lightly onto some scrap paper, and I was able to color everything, and it worked out very, very wonderfully. So I will definitely be doing that again. So here I am using a little bit of press and seal to keep all of the images in place where I want it, and I'm using some art glitter glue to kind of tack that down so that I can adhere it to my card base in place and ensure that it doesn't go anywhere. Now, I didn't tack down every single piece because I kind of like that idea of the florals coming off of the page at you and giving you that feeling of dimension. So I did leave some of the branches popped up and things of that sort. I'm taking those last few butterflies and placing them strategically to give that illusion of them coming out of the floral sleeve. So I'm taking some glitter cardstock. This is purple glitter cardstock, and I believe that this is Cricut cardstock as well. And I am using that to back my card. I took some pearls out of my stash. These are just some flat back pearls that I believe that I purchased from Amazon to go along with that theme. Like I said, I really felt the idea of elegance and royalty. I really just loved the paper in this kit. The paper in this card drove kind of my idea for the card. I really love this paper by Nuvo, and it really gives me that feeling of elegance. So that's what I was trying to go with. So I took one of my stamp sets from Honeybee that is called Fluttering By. And that is where I got the sentiment on for the inside of my card. I really loved this set. I haven't had the opportunity to use it as much as I would like at this point, but it came in really handy and it went well with what I was going for this card. So again, I'm using my Gina K Amalgam ink to kind of stamp down my sentiment. I don't know why I didn't transfer over to my Big Misty this entire time, but probably because the Mini Misty fits underneath my camera a little bit better. So it just says Fluttering By. On the inside it says to say I'm thinking of you. So I really loved the script of this font and how that went with the theme of the card. So again, I'm just taking some additional pieces, these small rosebuds, another butterfly, and backing that on some more of the glitter cardstock to create the inside of this card. So we're going to tack that down, and then we will get our card base ready for this one. And we're going to place it on a black card base. Again, just a cardstock from my stash. A lot of times for just my regular card bases, I use Michael's Recollection 110-pound card bases, just because I usually am able to get it on sale. It's relatively inexpensive. It does not give me a lot of issues, but the only thing that I use it for are card bases, not for die cutting, coloring, or anything like that. I have particular things that I love for those, but it works okay for doing card bases. So that is card number 3. I think that this would probably be my favorite, just because I think purple is my favorite color. I love the elegance of it, I love the font, and I was able to utilize all the things that I really enjoy all together. My Cricut, different cards, different papers, and things of that sort. So I really love this one. So with this one, again, I used my Cricut to cut up a piece of cardstock that came. This is from a paper pack from Cricut. And my idea here was that I needed a frame for the idea that I was going for. So again, I've colored up all of my florals off camera utilizing my Copic markers. And I wanted this to be very bright and vibrant, a full, very big bouquet of flowers to kind of catch your eye. So I am just taking my time and deciding on where I am going to have all my florals so that this can bring forth the idea that I'm going for. So as you can see, I've gotten all of the flowers kind of where I want them, kind of tucked down and in. So again, I'm just taking little dots of glue and gluing them in, making sure that they stay inside this square that I have created. And again, this is going to be another 5x7 card. The small frame on the outside is a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take some score tape and I'm going to utilize a piece of acetate. I'm going to make a shaker card. So this is the 1/4 inch score tape, and I'm going to put the score tape all the way around and make sure that all of the ends touch each other, because I don't want any of my sequins to fall out. So then I'm going to seal that down really, really well. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take some foam tape. I'm going to double up my foam tape, and then I am going to cut it into strips just to make sure that I don't have any of it hanging out when I am completing my shaker portion. Now I've taken the backing off of both sides just to make it a little easier to manipulate and to be able to try to get that foam tape all the way around without making many cuts. So I only had to cut this twice, and again trying to ensure that it is secured and butted up against each other. Now I'm taking that piece that I cut out just to try to line up my center portion of my frame. As you can see, we will have a gap. So we will have where the flower is, and then we will have the frame on the outside. I'm doing a different type of shaker. I'm doing a framed shaker, and I'm taking some sequins just from my stash. These came from Joann's or Michael's, and it's just a multicolor pack of sequins. And so I'm putting some at the top and the bottom, and what will happen is it will shake mostly around where the floral bouquet is, because I have added foam tape, as you can see, to the back of that portion as well, just to make sure that everything is even. So it has a double layer of foam tape around the middle portion as well as the frame on the outside. So now you can see that there's a clear frame, kind of like a floating frame idea was what I was going for, that allows me to have the shaker card kind of in a non-traditional fashion. I just wanted to do something a little different. I took my Cricut and created a sentiment that said thinking of you. I cut that out 5 times, backed it on a piece of vellum, and then utilized a piece of vinyl over the top to make the very last layer for the thinking of you. I've placed this on a baby pink card base. Again, that's my Recollections cardstock in the 110 pound. And I have placed that on the front of the acetate. So on the inside, I'm going to use that piece of the frame that was cut out in order to create a border for the inside of the card. Waste not, want not. And then I am just going to take that and I will glue around the edges and put this on the inside of my card base. I really love this cardstock, and I've really been loving pattern papers, but I don't use them very often. I feel like I take them and I hoard them. So I've been challenging myself this year to utilize them more so that I can maybe purchase more, because at this point I don't have any space for any anymore. So on the inside, I am stamping a sentiment that says, "Hope your day is as sweet as you are." And this did not come from the kit. And off the top of my head, I cannot remember which one of my stamp sets I utilized to get that sentiment. But that is card number 4. So finally, we are here at card number 5. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So off camera, because I thought my camera was on, I've already sliced a piece of cardstock that's about 8 inches by 2.5 inches, and then I've cut 2.5-inch slits in my card panel and in the envelope die. I am going to take that text background and I am going to stamp that all the way up this piece. Now I won't end up using all of this, but I started out with a longer piece than I needed, just in case I messed up, or I would have the opportunity to make this as long as I wanted it to be. So again, I'm using my antique linen because I did not want this to be too intrusive, because I will be stamping over the top of this. So it's just kind of to give something to appeal to the eye with the text in the background. I really thought this was a really nice touch that Hero Arts placed this in the card kit. I think of so many different ways that this can be utilized, and as like an entire background. I love background stamps that have text, so this just kind of spoke to me when I initially saw it. So I'm going to take my Gina K amalgam ink, and I'm going to take several of the sentiments from the card kit, and I am going to stamp that directly over the text background that we have created with the text stamp that came in the kit. So I am going to take this, and I'm going to take 3 different stamps, and I'm going to text that multiple times as well. I love you, XOXO, sending my love, and it's just going to say that repetitively throughout the entire strip. I do apologize. Words are really hard when I am on the mend here. I don't usually get sick, so being sick for such a long period of time and not really talking or doing any videos has me completely feeling like I am starting all the way from scratch. So please forgive me for this one. What do you guys do when you're getting sick and you're trying to do things over again? So what I've done here is I've created a stopper at the bottom of this strip, the 2.5-inch strip, in order for me to not allow it to pull all the way back out of my card base and the envelope. Now I've taken a dozen roses that I've colored with my copics, and I am going to place those in front of the slit that I've created with the envelope. So what will happen is my 2.5-inch strip is going to essentially come from behind the roses and create this love note, or at least that's the theme that I was going for. So I've placed that coming up out of my card panel, and now I will pull that through the envelope portion so that I can get an idea of where everything is going to be. And I'm going to glue that down and glue it in the wrong place. And then I am going to start thinking about where I'm going to want this to end. So I've taken this off screen and I've cut it down some so that I can figure out how I want it to be. So essentially what will happen is there will be a small pull tab that will let the recipient know that there is more to be found if they pull this love letter. and this is going to be a congratulations card for someone, and I am taking some gold cardstock, and this is from Tonic as well, and I am going to back that. Now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to use some foam tape around my entire panel that will help to stop it from going out the bottom of the cardstock, out the bottom of the card panel, as well as to kind of give a guide so that it's not shifting so much in the back of the card panel. So I am making sure that I don't put any adhesive to where it can intrude on the movement of the mechanism. However, I do want to create kind of a barrier around it to ensure that it only moves within the parameters that I am giving it. So after I get all of the foam tape, and I'm foam taping it very well, I am going to place that on my card base, and now I will be able to see that my mechanism is moving exactly the way that I want it to. So I will create a pull tab. I wasn't thinking, so I did it by hand. Hey, they're handmade, right? Not Hallmark, but homemade with love is what I say. So I do create a pull tab by hand, and I just wrote the word pull and adhered it to the back of the letter. So now we're creating the inside of our card with that same cardstock, and this black and white cardstock is some cardstock from my stash, and it came from Die Cuts with a View, and I think that this paper pack is probably 2 or 3 years old, so it would probably be a little difficult to find it. So again, I'm taking the antique linen script background, and I am going to stamp this all over the background of the inside of my card. Now I did the acetate trick, and that is just using the acetate to move the stamp around so that I don't have to clean it off every time in between each stamping. So I'm going to stamp this all the way throughout the inside of the card, and then I will write my sentiment over the top of the text. I just love the way that this look. I think that it gives such a nice, just very slight extra thing that just ties your card together so well. I really think that that text stamp of this kit was one of my favorites. Now I will say that the butterflies stole my heart, but that was my second runner-up. So again, you know, I have to do a couple of little bells and whistles, and I'm just taking some sequins that came from another kit, either Simon Says Stamp or Hero Arts, and I'm just going to take the gold, the red, and the white ones out just to kind of coordinate with the colors that I have going on with this card. And I'm going to use my jewel picker to put these jewels in, and then I will use my glossy accents to fill the inside of each of the sequins. I just love that little kind of domed bubble look that it gives. It almost looks as if you've put a flat back pearl that is clear on the inside of your sequin when you do it. So that's how I will finish off this card. I will just put one little bubble in each of my sequins, and I will also utilize my Spectrum Noir glitter pen to glitter up all of the roses. I love the shimmer. I love the shimmer. And hopefully in some of the still shots of my cards, you guys will be able to see all of the shimmer that each of these cards have, because the videos don't do them much justice. But that is card number 5, guys, and I really appreciate you guys taking this time to spend with me. Please leave me a comment, ask any questions if you need to, and come back. I will see you guys really soon for my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.